My Kleenex. I hope I can get through without crying. It is emotional for me because I was fortunate enough to be a friend of Dr. Harry Becker. When he moved into Norwalk in the early 1950s, I got to know him and his family very well. And that kind of friendship continued all the way through the times that he lived here, and when he was the superintendent of schools in Norwalk, and then moved on in the 1970s. I knew his family well, and they were all very meaningful to me. I loved his wife and his two daughters, and they made a tremendous impact here on the city of Norwalk because Harry Becker was one of the most visionary, patient, pragmatic, wonderful men that I have ever known. I want you to know that none of us would be standing here today if it were not for Harry Becker. And I think that's something that we really all have to appreciate. We are so fortunate to have this wonderful campus and the wonderful faculty and our president, David Levinson. We are so lucky to have the professors and the wonderful students that come here. But none of this would have been possible without Dr. Harry Becker. And so I would like to introduce his daughter and tell you that when I looked at this portrait of him, I was in tears because it is exactly what he looked like. And I feel that I could get him to talk to me again, and that would mean so much to me. Thank you very much. And with my pleasure to introduce Dr. Barbara Becker Holstein.
Hello, everybody. And we would have brought this portrait over many years sooner, but my mother talked to my father every night. So we couldn't take it away. And now that she is talking to him still, it's time. So I was looking up on the statistics about Norwalk Community College, and they say that you're really lucky if you have 20 minutes of fame. Well, it is a very, very special place to be, to start something where you're not looking for fame, but people get a chance to experience education and culture indefinitely. And I noticed that something like 172,000 people have been students at the college. So almost 250,000 people have had a chance to enrich their lives academically, culturally, socially. I'm sure there have been marriages and all sorts of interesting happenings that have come out of this campus and stories to tell. Speaking of stories, I, like my father, because of my father, have always felt courageous to start again and not give up. And that went back to that horrible bully, Kenny, who lived downstairs in our apartment house and made me miserable, and I came up in tears almost every day. And my father, who came home for lunch in those days, can you believe it? It was that long ago. And I would be crying and everything, and he'd say, you have to go back out. You cannot stay in here. Just tell him to leave you alone. And it was that type of reemergence, no matter what happens to you, that he gave to us whenever we needed it. And I hope I carry some of that. So I've been a psychologist for many, many years, and I love listening to people's stories, but I also have like that little desire to reinvent and do things for myself. Well, long story short, I'm also an author, and I'm presenting to the Norwalk Library the first 2 books in my latest trilogy, which is my first romance mystery series. And this series takes place basically in Jerusalem, and 2 women experience a lot of love interests. I mean, everyone likes to read that, particularly on a plane or on the beach. and some spiritual stuff, and some terrorism, because what else? You know. But you have to set your characters, and you can't just invent a character that has no background or people won't enjoy it. So Natalie, who's one of the two main characters, her husband just happens to be the department chairman of the psychology department at Norwalk Community College. So I don't know really who that person is. I didn't manage, I intentionally didn't research, because then I might have felt uncomfortable. So David is in this book. I don't know who really is the chairman. And but anyway, he has problems with his wife. I'm going to tell you that. They will be somewhat resolved in the third part of the trilogy. So anyway, thank you for accepting this portrait. I know my father will be very happy overseeing wherever you place it appropriately. He'll enjoy that. It's right, it should happen, and so it has happened. Have a great day. Glad to be here.
Oh, thank you. And we look forward to placing this portrait in the Founders Room, so thank you so much.